and welcome to this special broadcast where I am coming to you live from the Vijay Chowk in the national capital, just a few hundred meters away from the new Sansad of India, where the discussion on the Women's Reservation Bill will happen. Just minutes ago, we came to know from Arvind Gunasekar that ratification by 50%, because the Constitution bill in a different category. What is going to happen today? Because interestingly, members of the India bloc have decided to raise a different pitch. We saw that playing out yesterday when the Samajwadi Party and the RJD spoke about it. The Congress also joined in by saying that yes, there should be a category of reservation for OBC women also within this category of 33%. With me here at Vijay Chowk is Subhashini Yadav. She is a Congress leader and also the daughter of late Sharad Yadav. Vinod Sharma, a senior journalist, is joining us. We also have Anurag Verma here. Subhashini, I'm going to come to you first. Your father had opposed this legislation, and there are several speeches of his which we do remember even today. When you look at this legislation take this shape, and finally, because the government has the numbers in both the houses of parliament, they'll ensure the passage of this historic bill. What are your thoughts?
He actually didn't support it. So these are two different things. He didn't support it. Why? Because he wanted to incorporate the reality and the real situation of India. The real woman of India who stands at the last line. And he wanted them to be in the house. He wanted them to be the representative. You call it in any field. That was his main agenda. So I see this like today when we are back to square one. We see this bill laying in the parliament. And we see this again. The 90% population of this country has been thrown out of this bill, out of nowhere.
But women as a constituency, I mean, women numerically are 50% anyways. So
women are 50%, but in that 50%, are these women there who represent the reality of India, the backward women? Who
but
works
there is
in
a
the
reservation
field.
Within this reservation, which is for the SC, STs.
But
yes.
that too, there is a rotation of 15 years. In that reservation. That is also not permanent.
Rotation has been done away with. It's not mentioned in the new bill. Yes.
But now when they're laying it, but they're mentioning it again, that there will be a rotation.
Well, for the moment, it's not there. Yes, please go ahead. Yes.
So, see, the Congress party over here is just demanding the reservation for the backward women who can come and represent here in the house. My father also raised this voice that there should be a quota within quota. They call it Nari Shakti. The name is also so difficult. It is Nari Shakti Vandan. Such a complicated name. What is there in changing the name? What do you mean by Nari Shakti Vandan? Nari Shakti, do you really mean by the wrestling women who were sitting at Jantar Mantar? They were protesting for their rights. Is that what Nari Shakti means? Vandan, do you over here refer to the Hathras gang rape woman? Do you refer to the Dalit woman whose food has not been eaten in Moba? What are you trying to do in this country? Come to the reality. Come to the facts.
Okay, but as a woman yourself, when your father did not support it in parliament, did you as a daughter object to it?
No, I am again saying he supported this bill. Congress party is supporting this bill. India bloc is supporting this bill. What we want is there should be a special reservation for the other backward castes in this reservation bill, so that there is a equal representation for the suppressed voices of this country.
Okay, fine. Let me bring in Anurag Verma. Anurag Verma, we have seen almost the stage is set for the direction in which this debate will be going. Yes, this bill will be passed. It will see the light of the day. But when it comes to implementation, women have to wait a little longer.
Yeah, that is true. And this is very surprising that we can make out that Congress is under pressure from other India allies, because Congress has just joined in the discussion of reservation within reservation. Otherwise, they were against this. But under pressure from RJD and Samajwadi Party, now they are also talking about reservation within reservation, quota within quota. So this we can make out that when the discussion of seat sharing will start, they will be under pressure. It is my observation.
How do you look at the debate panning out today?
You know, when we recollect the past,
Yes.
we should be fair and objective.
You were inside the House in 2010.
Yes. So, why was it not passed in the Lok Sabha? The main reason was that in the Lok Sabha, there were parties aligned with the social justice idea who wanted this sub-quota. Because they felt, Mr. Sharad Yadav's comment, Parkati Mahilaएं, was essentially a reference to elitist women. That in our society, the kind of stratification which is there, unfortunately, in our society, that the reserved seats would be appropriated mostly by by the haves and not the have-nots. So their point was, and which was grossly misinterpreted, that they wanted that women from backward communities, women who are lesser women, so to speak, should be also given this empowerment. That was the point. And because there was a lot of conflict and noise over this issue in Rajya Sabha, though the bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha amid that noise, in the Lok Sabha, if I remember correctly, Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, very respectable BJP leader, she was for reservation. She said, we cannot back this bill or vote for this bill amid pandemonium, that there should not be any pandemonium. And there was no question of not having any pandemonium because the social justice parties were wanting a sub-quota for OBCs in the reserved category of
That's
women.
right, right.
So that is the correct, recollection of the past. Now, if the Congress today is asking for sub-quota, the same way the BJP, which was opposed to the Mandal Commission, how it progressively embraced the Mandal Commission with the passage of time, and rightly so. You see, if there has to be a social revolution in a country which had an industrial revolution before a social revolution, then let it be.
Okay.
It must happen.
Okay, Smita Gupta, your thoughts as the debate begins in the Lok Sabha today?
I substantially agree with the last few points that Vinod made about the fact that it is a good thing that the Congress has also changed its position on this sub-quota. We have seen in recent years the fact that the Congress has been one of the big campaigners for a caste census. But having said that, I want to introduce some new points. Is the BJP really serious about this bill, or does it just want to make a talking point? Because they have linked it to the delimitation. There is a question mark even on the delimitation, because we know that delimitation will not be easy. Since delimitation is usually done by population, it means that the southern states will lose a lot of seats in comparison to the northern states. So there will be a big battle on that. Secondly, if you're pushing it to 2029, and the census will come in between, there's a demand for the caste census. There are so many ifs and buts. And then the last point that I would like to make is that this bill suggests that in the scheduled caste quota, 1/3 of those should be reserved for scheduled caste women, which means that there will be a vertical quota there, but for the rest, it will be a horizontal quota. Now, these issues have been gone through in earlier times, as Vinod will recall. And I remember Mr. Ramvilas Paswan at that time, one of the most senior Dalit leaders, had opposed this. He says, this is your way of cutting down Dalit seats in parliament. Now, we don't know whether this issue, I'm not either supporting or opposing that point of view, but I'm simply saying that this is an issue that will come up also. And how will you have part of it being cut vertically, part of it being cut horizontally? Then if the OBC quota is also demanded, then of course there'll be a full vertical quota. So there are so many ifs and buts. It just seems like a jumla. Just they'll get it through. They'll say we are pro-women, etc. But the women will actually not get any benefit at all for till 2029, and there's a big question mark even on that.
Okay. So several questions being raised by Smita Gupta, and rightly so, because it is perhaps a long road before it finally sees the light of the day. But Subhashini, I'm coming back to you, and we'll continue this conversation because, about the idea of social justice. If women at large are given without that aspect which some regional parties are demanding, Samajwadi Party, RJD and others, who are of the opinion that there should be a reservation also for the OBCs. Although there is a category of for the SCs, STs, but why not for the OBCs?
See, I would like to talk about my party over here. The Congress party has passed a resolution in its adivation that we are going to follow the social justice formula and incorporate as much as backward classes along with us. So here, when we see at a larger picture, as the Prime Minister yesterday quoted that God has sent him to pass this bill, I would like to ask, it is not the God, it is the people of India. It is the real people of India, the farmers, the labourers, the backward castes, the SC Dalits who voted for him. Did they allow him to do this? Did they allow him to, pass such a bill where he did not incorporate the real women of India?
Okay.
The reality of India. Whenever election comes, suddenly we see a pop-up. There is a tingle of, 15 lakh in accounts, whatsoever, employment and everything. This is just a rattle in hands of women. And I don't think this is going to come in reality.
Okay.
And I would like to mention here, the Prime Minister during the election becomes OBC. And when it comes to giving chance to the last woman standing in this line, he is trying to escape.
Okay, so these are the concerns that are of the Congress party. Let's listen in now to Chavi. She was a sarpanch, in fact, for 10 years of that village, which is called... okay, in fact, now let's first listen in to what Kiran MazumdarShaw of Biocon had to say about representation of women, if it is going to increase politically, and how there are challenges, particularly what she has faced in boardrooms and also in the corporate world. Kiran MazumdarShaw, Executive Chairperson of Biocon, is also joining me. Ms. Shaw, appreciate your time. Women in boardroom, we have women like you take the lead in the boardrooms. Now, women as, getting a massive representation also as lawmakers, that day is also not very far. And do you think this is the right move in the sense that the timing is right?
Well, I'm absolutely delighted that the Women's Reservation Bill has been tabled in Parliament, and I have no doubt about it that it will be hopefully unanimously carried. But I think it's a very historic moment for us in the country. I think the Prime Minister is very committed to the Women's Reservation Bill. And I think we have enough examples of strong women lawmakers in Parliament even today. If you look at our ministers, whether it's Nirmala Sitharaman, Smriti Irani, and many, many others, including those of yesteryears like Sushma Swaraj and many, many other women who have been outstanding lawmakers. I don't see why we have delayed in reserving these positions for women and opened the doors to women in terms of participating in the electoral process.
Ma'am, one thought certainly is that these are great ideas, but when it is about the implementation and the challenges on ground, there are certain areas which perhaps you don't know how it will be playing out, particularly the pushback that comes from the society at large, because there are patriarchal pockets. My question to you is, as someone who's a corporate leader, when policies are implemented, what kind of pushbacks, when it is about giving women their due, what kind of pushbacks usually happen?
Well, to begin with, having a reservations bill is very important because it basically does assure, us that we will have 33% of women lawmakers. And I think that's a very big, important first step. I think the moment you get women entering the portals of the electoral process in a way that welcomes them through this reservation bill, I think you will see women partaking in the electoral process in a far more confident manner. You will get more women willing to enter politics. And I think this is a very important first step for a country like ours, and it's a very big step and a path-breaking step.
Yes, and this step is also coming at a time when the women participation in labor force has gone down drastically. Do you think this step and decisions of this nature will help rectify those anomalies?
You know, this is one of the reasons why you need women as lawmakers, because you do need to make these corrections in inequity. So I think equal opportunities are what women are looking for. And so far, it has not been a level playing field for women in any realm, including politics. So I think a reservation bill starts creating those level playing fields in most sectors. And I'm hoping that this will see many more and many more competent women lawmakers, playing a big role in nation building.
Yes, welcome back. We'll continue this conversation now. We are being joined by Sumitra Goenka. She is the member of Center for Knowledge Sovereignty. Hi, Sumitra. Good to have you on this broadcast. It is about going beyond tokenism. It's about sending a message that women are equal participant. In corporate world or in spaces such as that, how difficult is it for ensuring that the women get their due?
Okay, so I have a data with me which speaks about the women in leadership roles across the world. So it's around 35%. In India also, over the past few years, we have seen that women have reached that level in the corporate world. You were just talking to Kiran MazumdarShaw, I saw in the clip. So she's one of the inspiring ladies who has done it on her own. She has reached there. We are seeing many women internationally also who are Indians who have reached to a bigger spot. But unfortunately, when it comes to parliament, if you compare the global ratio, in the world, we have around 26% of the women in leadership roles in parliament. But in India, it is around, 13-14%.
Yes,
and in
14%.
the state legislatures, it is much below that. So I think this bill, which is going to be introduced and, passed in the parliament today, it is a very big boost to women who believe that, they can participate in policy making. Because women, actually, I feel that women do not need a reservation, to be very frank.
No, but
they can do it on their own.
No,
but this is about the equity.
Yeah, it's about giving them a playing field.
Yeah. So it is about the equity. To ensure equality, first we need to go and give them equity. They have been deprived of these roles for a long time. So if you look at the Indian scenario where women have been in parliament, I think many of them come from either affluent political backgrounds or people who have been put in because, their husband or father or brother has been into politics and they want to field a woman candidate for whatever reason.
In fact, I spoke to Chavi. She is the longest serving Sarpanch from Rajasthan. I will play that soundbite in just a bit. But Vinod Sharma, political editor of Hindustan Times, continue to be with us. We also have Anurag Verma as well. Vinodji, coming to you, the concerns that have been raised repeatedly, whether it will be about mere tokenism, but it is the step. It had to be taken. And will you not say that it requires a lot of political will and conviction to ensure that it is passed? Because it's a bill in a new form.
Indeed, it's a laudable step. It has come much later, but it is there, and we must appreciate it. It will require the aggregate strength of all political parties to pass this bill in a manner that it is acceptable to most communities. I know that there are women in this country who made the grade in the corporate sector, who made the grade in journalism, such as you. There are women who made the grade in academics. But this affirmative action is for women who are struggling at the grassroots, who aren't a participant in the decision making about their fates at the panchayat level. Yeah, many women find representation in the panchayats and Zilla Parishads, but their participation is still restricted, unfortunately, by their husbands.
No, but that used to be the case.
No, it still is.
In the sense that we have seen, I come from Bihar, I saw this change, the change which happened gradually though, but it did happen.
Marya.
Initially they were seen as rubber stamp, then they started asserting themselves, and then they played the role in deciding the direction in which the entire household will vote. So the transition was gradual, but did happen.
Yeah, I agree that there is transition, but this trickle must turn into a stream. That's what I mean.
Yes.
You know, I was in Rajasthan recently. I was in Jaisalmer and Barmer, which are districts which are closer to the border. And I heard this, and that's why I'm encouraged to repeat and tell that they are there. That is what is tokenism, that you put them there, but don't allow them to participate in the decision making. So that should be the beginning. Secondly, you see, when a government is there, which has the Rohini Commission, which is for affirmative action for the extremely backward communities. The same government should do it well insofar as women reservation is concerned, that they should include the same very categories, the same very social groups for affirmative action in reservation in Parliament and assemblies.
There is a controversy which is brewing in Parliament, and expect Parliament to be full of action. The leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, has actually said that socialist, secular, these are the two words which are missing from Constitution's new copies which have been circulated. And then there is a response that has come in from the Law Minister. Let's listen into both, and then I'm going to get to the reporters.
सबसे बड़ा प्रतिक्रिया क्या जानते हैं? आज हमें जो नया संविधान दिए गए, जिस संविधान को हाथ में लेकर अंदर घुसे, उस संविधान को प्रियम्बल में सेकुलर सोशलिस्ट ये बात, ये शब्द नहीं है। आज की तारीख में अगर कोई संविधान हमें दे, उसमें अगर सोशलिस्ट और सेकुलर दो शब्दों की जिक्र ना रहे, तो ये बड़े दुश्चिंता की बात है।
देखिए, हमारे प्रवक्ता ने इसका जवाब दे दिया है जी। वो जिस समय संविधान बना था वो उस समय ऐसा ही था ना, तो उसके बाद 42nd में अमेंडमेंट हुआ, तो ओरिजिनल कॉपी होगी ना। ये हमारे प्रवक्ता ने जवाब दिया है ना इसके बारे में।
So you heard from both the sides, the treasury benches taking on Congress's Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who said that the two words secular and socialist has been removed from the new copies of the Constitution which has been circulated. Anurag ji, what exactly is this new controversy? New flashpoint as we are calling it.
This is very interesting. Right now, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is raising the concern, but we have to wait. What is the exact situation? This word was added, what I have just read, in 1976. So if this has been removed, if it is true, then it's a matter of concern.
What has happened is the copy which was presented is the original copy of the Constitution. Okay. So the original Constitution, which was the first one, did not have these two words. So nobody has the original copies of the Constitution with them. And the new one, which is available in the market or, with everybody. So this is kind of a token of remembrance of the original Constitution.
Okay. So that
These two words were added in 1976.
Yeah. Yes, it was added later in the preamble.
So the first book is given which has the original.
Let me connect to Vasudha Venugopal, who's joining me on the phone line. Vasudha, what exactly is this new controversy?
So yesterday, Marya, when all the MPs were marching from the old parliament to the new parliament, it was a ceremonial exercise. There were copies of the constitution given to them, and now Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has alleged that the words secular and socialist are missing from the parliament. Now, this has been a long-standing demand of the RSS that these words that were added in the 70s need to be removed. And this is something that the RSS has often, committed itself to. But there was not a constitutional move in that regard. But now, with this Congress leader saying, it has become a controversy. We are trying to find out from other MPs as to what they are saying and what if they also sort of see this as a big error, and if it was actually missing from the book that they were carrying, from the copies that they were carrying. Remember, all of them were given hampers of sorts, because it was a ceremonial parade where the PM led everyone into the parliament, into the new parliament, marking the new era of New India. So we are trying to get some reactions from the ruling party as well as members of the opposition. But this significant, activity here seems to be this whole battle of narratives that's going to follow with the Women's Reservation Bill and the discord it can create within the India alliance on the quota within quotas, and who gets to basically be branded as anti-OBC, or anti-women for that matter. So that is going to be the highlight of the session. We're trying to get some MPs to speak on this particular controversy on the absence of socialist and secularist.
Okay, before I let you go, Vasudha, a quick update. I want to know from you, for the benefit of our viewers, who all are going to speak today? What is the list of speakers for today? Until when will it continue? And how many women MPs have given their names for being a speaker today?
Well, Marya, what I hear is, the BJP, while Sonia Gandhi, of course, is going to start a debate, and, remember, she has stated a lot of ownership, over the bill when she walked into the parliament yesterday saying, Apna bill hai, this is our bill. So, that is something that has to be, resisted by the BJP. So the BJP, I think, is going to deploy its best faces. Smriti Irani has been talking a lot about this, has been taking on the Congress and saying that, this is appropriation of credit. So she is also the WCD minister, a star speaker. There's Nirmala Sitharaman, of course, has also often been, deployed when important topics, even during no confidence motion. Then, of course, Zita Bahuguna Joshi. There's Anupriya Patel, who comes from the Ally party. So many names are being considered. The list will be out soon, and that is when we'll get to know. But we know for certain that Sonia Gandhi is going to speak. And after that, the big ministers and the big faces of BJP, the female ministers and MPs, could be asked to speak.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vasudha. So, former Congress President Sonia Gandhi will be speaking on the Women's Reservation Bill, which will be taken up in the Lok Sabha in another 30 minutes from now. There are a long list of speakers for today. If you can hear, that is the cavalcade movement of the Prime Minister. He's entering the Parliament, and then there will be a scheduled meeting, which often happens with the core group of ministers, which includes Mr. Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Mr. Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister, among others, who are present in that meeting for deciding the floor strategy going ahead today. We are slipping into a short break. This remains our top focus here on NDTV.